What is good, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ruffle Rowlett, and welcome back to a brand new video, guys. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I have some interesting news, actually some fantastic news for you guys to share with you all about Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield that I think you guys will enjoy, ladies and gentlemen. So, we have actually now, gotten confirmation that it is actually possible, okay? It is actually possible to insert old Pokemon into Pokemon Sword and Shield and make new IDs for them in the game. It is actually possible. Of course, there is a bit of, there's a bit of a process there to do it, but it is possible to do that, and it's been confirmed now by our boy, Cyrus M, or Michael, I guess, on on Twitter, who posted this saying, well, that wasn't so hard, needs a ton more work, of course, but it's pretty cool and cool to see it functioning. And what he has right here, ladies and gentlemen, is he's put a Omanyte, which, by the way, or Omastar, right? Not Omanyte, Omastar, into Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. Now, for those who do not know, maybe you haven't played Sword and Shield yet, but let me tell you, this Pokemon does not exist in the base versions of Pokemon Sword and Shield. It does not exist in the games. It's not in the post-game. It doesn't exist at all in the game. It isn't in the files for the game at all, like a lot of other Pokemon. There's about 435 Pokemon total that are actually in Sword and Shield, whereof all those, there's maybe like 90 or so that are brand new Pokemon, including Galarian forms and stuff. So that's the point I'm trying to get to here, is that this is a Pokemon that doesn't exist whatsoever in those files. It does not exist in the realm of those games. Like, it just doesn't exist within the files. It doesn't exist there, and you'll see right here. Now, a thing I need to point out, first of all, is that, this doesn't mean that all of a sudden, they're going to be able to add all the Pokemon in there, or, if you might be thinking, some people, mention here that, isn't he just, changing, the Pokemon of a certain, the model of a certain Pokemon that's already in the game. Like, right here, what he did was, he basically, as far as I've understood it, and I'm sorry if I misunderstand this, I'll make sure to link to his Twitter, so please read it there, but basically, he, just to show off that it works, he basically just switched out, an entry for not the actual physical entry for Yamper, that's in the game, but, he just used the Yamper as a basis for it, essentially, to switch out, and put Omastar in there. So, Yamper is still in the game, but, this Omastar just uses the basis of what is Yamper to kind of as a way for him to be able to show us what it actually looks like in the game. So that's the point I'm trying to get to here. So you might get a little bit of things confused here, but he actually shows even animations right here, ladies and gentlemen. Here it is. Look, it's fully working animations. It's in the game. There's no weird thing going on. It's a working animation. Of course, there are issues, right? There's going to be some some texture issues. The textures may not look too if let's say he wants to add Greninja and stuff. Let's say we want to have Greninja added, or basically, any Pokemon that wasn't in Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, if you want any of those Pokemon, Pokemon that weren't in Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, if you want any of those added into the game, they will need to make a tool that can convert those textures and those models into the models that are used, within the Switch games, right? Which shouldn't be too difficult. It's just going to be a time-consuming process, and I feel like the community will go down and do that, because there's been other community members and other YouTubers who actually are working on retexturing the whole of Sword and Shield, right? They've been adding new textures on trees, which look amazing, by the way, and just reworking textures on the stones and stuff, and just generally speaking, trying to improve the game. So I think we're seeing a similar situation here with Pokemon Sword and Shield that we see with a lot of other franchises, for example, a lot of the Bethesda franchises, like Fallout and, the Elder Scrolls series, right? Those two always, and I mean always, get a community-made mods that fix bugs, that add better textures, that improve quality of life things within the games, right? They basically, the community does a lot of the work there to fix things. But as you can see right here, it's a fully functioning Omastar. It's a fully functioning Omastar within Pokemon Sword and Shield, and there's nothing strange about it. It's there, it works. But he continues saying, yay animations, and then the animation on entering battle is pretty broken, as you can see right here, but it works okay other than that. Obviously, stats are broken, didn't fix the personal entry yet, and this was originally an edited Yamper, and I didn't bother giving legitimate moves. So, basically, this isn't him, changing Yamper. Yamper is still in the game, right? But what he did was, he just took a base Yamper and gave it this brand new Pokemon entry, right, of Omastar, to see if that would work, right? So basically, hey, it's the Helix Lord himself has returned, and he's saving the great the great Pokemon world. So that's awesome. But as you can see right here, he shows off some of the gameplay. See, for now, it uses a lot of the stuff from a lot of stuff that you see. And also, as you may notice, the texture just doesn't look the same because it just hasn't been, you know, it's the Let's Go texture, so it hasn't been like, you know, it hasn't just been applied well into the game. So, you know, of course, once the you know, the more like artistically savvy people within the, you know, the hacking community and stuff, once they get their hands on it, they'll be able to actually fix things a little bit better and improve things. So he says right here, you know, like since apparently this needs clarification, Yamper is still in the game. This is what I want to make sure to point out that he also said is Yamper is still in the game with his edit. This is a new entry inserted into the model table using Omastar's species ID 139. The one in my party / shonen battle was a Yamper that I lazily edited the species of with PK Hex. So what he's saying here is that he didn't remove Yamper and add Omastar into it. What he instead did was to just make it work instead. What he did was he just took a Yamper that he had in his inventory, right, in his, you know, in his party, and just gave that Pokemon the new species ID of 139 that he uses for Omastar, right? So that's all he did there. He didn't actually take, like, Yamper is still in the game, for anybody misunderstanding that, because I saw a lot of people in the replies totally misunderstanding, like saying like, oh, but this doesn't matter because you had to switch out Yamper and, you know, now Yamper's not in the game anymore. And that's not true. Like, Yamper is still in the game, but now, like, since there is no way for him to really, I guess, encounter Omastar within the game, so, like, you know, with what he set up here, he needs to just kind of, like, switch out a Pokemon that he already has for this, like, you know, this ID instead. So that's why it still has the same moves. He just didn't bother adding the moves to it, you know, or like, you know, like legal moves and stuff. He just went for, like, whatever he had in front of him. So he continues by saying, to be clear, this is the Let's Go model, imported with literally no changes on my part. Model table is just a flat buffer, so convert to JSON, edit to insert new entries, convert back to binary is readily doable. And he continues on, you know, answering a few questions. You know, how long did it take? It's about an hour to reverse the model table, flat buffer format, and then like 5 minutes to copy paste the files plus edit with PK Hex. This is obviously just a test / demo though. There's some pretty broken stuff. Battle entry animation, soft lock on Dynamax because no capture with throw animation. These problems aren't unsolvable since the formats are all easy to work with. They're flat buffers so you can convert them JSON and edit them. Point of this was mostly to just demonstrate that adding new models / animations is possible to justify further work towards national decks. But then, you know, it's like somebody here can say, I'm sure you've seen multi-copies during your work too. I feel like this is why all the ones were cut. We're digging through the Sword and Shield GFB model files, like zip, but for individual model data, and I found that each Pokemon has 2 copies of each model, one of the normal coloration and one for the shiny. Viewer displays things funky, but you can tell the right is shiny. And I'm not sure like why they would even bother doing that if that is the case. But either way, of course, you know, the Lord himself has returned. But either way, I'm not doing this video to, like, you know, shit on Sword and Shield. I'm actually just doing this because I'm excited to see where this might go and where the community might take this. You know what I mean? Like, that's what interests me. I think this is really cool, and I feel like this could be, like, really epic to see, like, how it turns out. So, another clarification, lots of work needed for anything people would want to use. Obvious action items. Produce flat buffer schemes to add new animations. Produce converters from BCH to GFB BMDL to use Ultrasun and Ultra Moon models. No converter exists right now, so somebody will need to make one, which I think somebody will be able to do. The community is amazing at this sort of stuff. They've done it in the past with other stuff, so this shouldn't be, like, impossible. It's just time consuming. Upscale old Pokemon, I mean, kind of time consuming content. Once it's made, you know. Upscale old Pokemon textures, which of course the community will also probably be able to handle, because there probably are people in the community who want to do that and want to, you know, do that for the rest of the community. So bringing back old Pokemon seems hard but doable to me. It'll require tool dev to work with the formats and be able to use Ultra Sun and Moon models, community-sourced animations / etc. for capture, withdrawal / battle entry. So basically, when the Pokemon jumps in and out, they'll need, like, custom stuff for that, most likely. I mean, I guess that's something that, like, I mean, I guess that could be somewhat skipped, but I guess also it is needed just so that, you know, it wouldn't cause issues. Textures could probably use Waifu 2X or similar for First Pass. So again, anyway, more research is needed. My vague plans are to help make the scheme / tools needed and handle the stats / etc. side, and then leave it to people who are more familiar with models / animations / have shit color perception to make models look good / function animation wise. And yeah, that is it. Shout out to this man for doing this amazing work. Again, please keep in mind, this does not mean that, you know, this is not meant to be some sort of attack. This is meant to just show that, like, hey, this is possible to do, and the community might be able to do it, right? They might be able to actually add all these Pokemon in, and honestly, that would be fantastic. Like, that actually would be pretty freaking awesome, in my opinion. I'm honestly excited about the potential of this, because it could turn out like really cool, and we might see like a Pokemon Sword and Shield game, you know, community one that might actually feature all the Pokemon. Now, of course, does this mean it's going to happen overnight? No, okay? Maybe for now, people will be able to add in Pokemon like this, right? They may be able to add Pokemon just like what he's done right here. This might be possible, and we may be able to do exactly this, but going beyond that might take a little bit more time, and, you know, adding all the exact, like, you know, new animations and all that stuff might be a little bit more time consuming, but it is possible, though. That's the thing that needs to be kind of, like, clarified. It is possible. It is not impossible. It is a possibility. It's just that the community, like, you know, Game Freak has all these tools to add these things in. They already have those tools, but the community would need to make, like, their own, you know, brand new tools for, like, inserting some of these things and, you know, converting, like, BCH files over to the new files that they use, which is the GFB ones. You know, like, they need to make all these tools from scratch, because, well, the community doesn't have them just yet. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for the video, guys. If you did enjoy, drop a like down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Have a great day, and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.